were a bunch of politicians who shared this, but Secretary Rubio, he went with President Trump yesterday to speak with Vladimir Putin. He was in the room with them. It was Marco Rubio, Trump, and the other guy, the guy who's the for some reason he's like the ambassador to the to the Middle East or something like that. I can't remember his name, but if you want to drop it in the comments, I'd appreciate it. So anyway, so this from Donald J. Trump's Truth Social account, a great and very successful day in Alaska. And this was shared 12 hours ago. I'm assuming Trump probably posted this roughly about 12, 13 hours ago as of this recording. It's about 8 o'clock right now, Florida time, Eastern time. All right, anyway, the meeting with President Vladimir Putin of Russia went very well, as did a late-night phone call with President Zelenskyy of Ukraine and various European leaders, including the highly respected Secretary General of NATO. It was determined by all that the best way to end the horrific war between Russia and Ukraine is to go directly to a peace agreement, which would end the war and not a mere ceasefire agreement, which oftentimes does not hold up. President Zelenskyy will be coming to Washington, D.C., the Oval Office, on Monday afternoon. I wonder if he's going to dress up. Probably not. If all works out, we will then schedule a meeting with President Putin. Potentially millions of people's lives will be saved. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And I'm going to get to a few related things with regard to the meeting yesterday. There's a couple of video clips that I'm going to play, and we'll get to that here in just a second. But first, from the White House, quote, a great and very successful day in Alaska. It was determined by all that the best way to end the horrific war between Russia and Ukraine is to go directly to a peace agreement. President Zelenskyy will be coming to D.C. in the Oval Office on Monday, President Trump. And of course, that was taken from what I just read, so kind of pointless that I even read that in the first place. So from Rapid Response 47, POTUS on his meeting with President Putin, we had a very good meeting today, but we'll see. So on and so forth. I'm not going to read all of it because he's going to say it right here in the video. So let's just check this out.
We had a very good meeting today, but we'll see. I mean, it's you have to get a deal. We agreed on a lot of points. I want to see people stop dying.
Me
in
too.
Ukraine, and that's what's happening. We're losing 5, 6, 7,000. They're Russians, mostly Russians, and they're Ukrainian soldiers. There's some people dying in cities and towns where they're trying to blow up missile manufacturers and other things in some cities. I don't know if you know what's going on there, but there are a lot of people dying. And if we can end that war, it would be very good. And I was very happy to hear him say, if I was president, that war would have never happened.
Well, missile manufacturing, I'm assuming, is happening in Russia, not in Ukraine, because Ukraine's importing a lot of their missiles and all that stuff from Made in the USA missiles that Europe is purchasing. Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised that Vladimir Putin yesterday at the podium, given that announcement to the press and basically to the world, that if President Trump was president from 2020 to 2024, there would have never been a war against Ukraine. That was actually pretty surprising. He dropped that in at the last minute. I was not expecting that at all. But he said it. He actually said it, and President Trump said he greatly appreciated that he said it because he's right. Or I'm assuming he's right. I mean, you just got to take his word for it. He is the president of Russia, and he said that if Trump was president, he wouldn't have invaded Ukraine. So, I mean, who else are you going to listen to with regard to that? All right, so here's another clip from Hannity and President Trump sitting down after the meeting with Putin yesterday.
We had a very good meeting today, and I think a lot of points were negotiated on behalf of Ukraine and on behalf of the whole NATO situation, where we're dealing very well with a lot of foreign countries that are great, European countries. Look, as far as I'm concerned, there's no deal until there's a deal, but we did make a lot of progress.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm staunchly anti-NATO. I think that NATO probably should have been rolled back during the 1990s after the Soviet Union fell, but I understand there's a place for it. I get it. I'm just saying in the years to come, 10, 20, 30 years from now, Europe isn't going to be the same Europe that it is today or was 10, 20 years ago. It's getting more woke. They're importing many, many more immigrants by the millions who are not assimilating properly into the countries that they're immigrating to, which is what you're supposed to do as an immigrant. You're supposed to embrace the country you're going to, you're resettling to. You're supposed to embrace their morals, their values, their traditions, their culture. And that doesn't really tend to happen when you import millions of people all at once. They're all going to bring their cultures with them, and they're just going to insist that you assimilate to what they want. And that seems to be what's happening in Europe. So for Europe to have control of NATO in 20 or 30 years, I mean, is it going to be more or less like half Europe and half the Middle East by proxy. I don't know. I guess that conversation is for a later date. But here's one more.
We were together
listen to another
almost
one.
3 hours, and it was very extensive. And we
3
agreed
hours.
on a lot of points. I mean, a lot of points we're agreed on. But there's not that much. There's, one or two pretty significant items, but I think they can be reached.
Yeah,
now,
in the
it's
war.
Really up to
That's the big one.
Zelenskyy to get it done. And I would also say the European nations, they have to get involved a little bit. But it's up to President Zelenskyy. I think we are, and if they'd like, I'll be at that next meeting. They're going to set up a meeting now between President Zelenskyy and President Putin. And myself, I guess, I didn't ask you about it. Not that I want to be there, but I want to make sure it gets done. And we have a pretty good chance of getting it done.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely fair that he mentions that. He doesn't have to be there. Definitely doesn't have to. It's between them. He's just there just to try to get them both in the same room together and get them to work all this out. So that's good that President Trump said that. I'm sure the Democrats were probably in total assumption that he was insisting that he be there because he's the big bad dictator. All right, this is one more. All right, we got maybe one more after this one. Let's check this one out, though.
The president of Russia stated something that you had stated many, many times, and maybe people, your political opponents, might have dismissed. But he said this war would not have taken place if you were president. Now,
yeah, I thought they already covered that, though, Hannity.
He did give you behind-the-scenes specific reasons why it happened under Biden.
Actually,
he did give you reasons.
Yeah, he did.
That's actually a fair question. What was it about Biden being in office that allowed Putin to just invade Ukraine? It was almost as if they colluded with one another to make it happen. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I'm assuming that there's a lot of maybe money laundering, a lot of squandering, skimming off the top. I think it all boils down to money. And a lot of high-ranking politicians, high-level bureaucrats, a lot of people that are back there pulling the strings that nobody gets to know who they are.
But I know the reason. It's gross incompetence. I mean, we have a border that's totally closed now, and people come in, but they come in legally. But we had zero, as you know. The first time you heard it was 3 months ago, but we've done it now 3 times in a row. 0 people coming in illegally. We have many things that are going well now. Our economy is great. We don't have inflation. The price of...
So basically American strength. Because Vladimir Putin saw America as significantly weaker under Democrat leadership. So he just figured, yeah, now's the time. And looks like he was right because it's still going on to this day. What is that, 4 years now? It's like 4.5 years this thing's been going on.
Energy is down. The price of groceries are down. The price of everything is down.
Not enough, though.
We're saving Social Security. You saw that the other day where we have a genius in charge. I took him out of J.P. Morgan Chase. He was the head of, one of the top people in there, and he did great. He went to one of the big funds. One of the top people. That they take a cut. I think he said he's working for 1% of what he was working for. These are unbelievable people. And the job he's done in Social
they're America
Security
first,
and
man.
making it really powerful and strong is
They took
amazing.
the call
and
to
we've
duty.
done that with many things. I love doing it. I love seeing this country be great again. And Vladimir said just a little while ago, he said, I've never seen anybody do so much so fast. He said, your country is like hot as...
I know President Trump, but what did Putin tell you with regard to Biden getting in and why Putin decided that was the time to invade? All I heard was incompetence, like gross incompetence. And then he went straight into, like, we've done this and done that. No, I want to know, like, what was the incompetence specifically? But maybe they didn't get into those kind of specifics. I don't know. So we'll do one more here. I actually have the full, where is it? This one. This is the full interview, 31 minutes, 45 seconds. I had a choice to either play the entire thing, which I really was reluctant to do because it just for the sake of time. So I just grabbed some of these like little short minute clips. Figured I would just play a couple of these. But I only added this just to show you that if you're on X, you can go to Rapid Response 47. This was posted August 15th, yesterday, 10:44 p.m. If you want to watch the whole thing, they got it on there. They don't just have these little clips. You can actually watch the full thing all at once.
This does not impact the United States as much as it does our allies in Europe.
It's true.
The Middle East, when we get involved in the Middle East.
Yeah, man, we got the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean.
Anyway, now
separating us.
Why? Is it to save lives? Do you want to save the world?
Yeah, number one, to save lives in all cases, because wars are wars. When you see what would have happened with Cambodia as an example. Now, I'm not involved, but I was involved in negotiating a trade deal, and I said, you guys are going to be fighting Thailand, Cambodia, So many different. Look at India. Take a look at India and
Pakistan.
They were shooting down airplanes already, and that would have been maybe nuclear. I would have.
Yeah, they had fighter jets in dogfights, man. That was crazy.
Number one is lives.
Like the first time in like 40 years, there was a fighter jet dogfight happening in like an active situation.
And if you can avoid them, and I seem to have an ability to end them, to get people together.
Or a hot conflict. That's the way I should have worded that. All right. This is the last one, I think, right? I think it's the last one.
The meeting was a very warm meeting. You know, he's a strong guy. He's tough as hell and all of that. But the meeting was a very
He's been president since, like, basically, what, 2000?
And it's very good when they get along. I think we're pretty close to it. Now, look,
I know he had like he had 4 years off at some point.
Maybe they'll say no. Because Biden handed out money like it was candy. And Europe gave him a lot of money. You know, we gave him $350 billion. Europe gave them much less, but still a lot, $100 billion.
What? I thought the total sum that we actually handed over to Ukraine was $80 billion. Although I did hear another number. I heard $130 billion. I'm sure there was $300 billion that was earmarked for Ukraine, but I wasn't aware that it was actually those transactions were actually fully completed. I know it's not cash. It's not strictly cash that we're sending over there. It's also in the form of weaponry and all that stuff too. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. I just hope... You see, one reason that I would give Trump as to why he should be in those meetings is because Ukraine promised us natural resources as a form of repayment for all this money that we sent over to Ukraine to fight against Russia. So we are due money, or at least resources of value, I would hope at least equivalent to the amount of money that we handed over to Ukraine. We'll just have to see. I wouldn't exactly hold my breath for it, though.